You are a king and a priest. That's what Revelation chapter 1 verse 5 says in the King James. He hath made us to be kings and priests to serve God. See, you know you're a child of God, but many Christians don't have a revelation of their priesthood and their kingship. But it's important that you get a revelation of this in order to walk in the newness of life. You know, St. Peter says here in 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 9, but you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood. Notice what kind of priesthood are you? A royal one. Royalty refers to kingship, doesn't it? We don't have an ordinary priesthood. We have a royal priesthood. The Bible tells us that Jesus is a priest after the order of Melchizedek. Well, what was different about Melchizedek's priesthood versus the Levite priesthood? Well, Hebrews chapter 7 verse 1 says he was both a king and priest. So Jesus likewise is a king and priest, and you walk in his body. You are members of his body. Therefore, you are a king and priest. So what does it mean to be a priest? It means you have access to God. You see, in the Old Testament, only the priests were allowed to go into the holy place. And they would come in daily to go ahead, change the bread and put oil in the menorah. But only priests could do this. Only priests could come into God's presence. But now you're a priest. And because you're a priest, you can come to God directly. If you need forgiveness, you don't have to go to a priest to get forgiveness. You can receive forgiveness directly from God. You can pray directly to God. He hears you. Now, I'm not saying that there's not corporate priests as ministers. No, I'm a corporate priest as a minister where I take care of the body, but I also have to be a personal priest with my relationship with God, and every believer is a personal priest between him and God. So you have access to God. The second thing is you're a king. And what does that mean? Kings reign. That's right, kings reign. This is why Paul wrote in Romans 5:17. He says, through Jesus Christ, in the Amplified, it says, you reign as kings in life. You don't just reign in heaven. People say, one day when I die, I'm going to go to heaven and I'll reign there. Friend, you could reign in life. Romans chapter 5, verse 17. So what does reigning mean? It means you have authority. You have dominion. Kings have dominion. And Jesus has given you the keys of the kingdom. That's right. You have the power to reign. You reign over sin. You reign over disease. You reign over poverty, worry, fear. Do not let these elements rule and reign over you. Whatever Jesus reigned over, friend, you reign over, because the miracles he's done, you can do also.